Hi, everybody. Saturday morning. I think Saturdays are actually going to be easier to make and post these videos. So not Friday, but Saturday slash Sunday. How you all doing? I hope that you've been getting out and being or being able to do things inside that make you still feel normal. I've been gardening and dyeing my hair. I got to keep the hygiene up. And yeah, it's going really well. I'm actually quite happy with how everything's going. It could be, yeah, like it's all good. There's a lot of connection being made with all the classes, and they're happily working away at stuff, which is just great. Thanks to everybody who posted on our Orville discussion threads. I'm now reluctant to make it an assignment because, only a few of you did this. And not ironically, it's the students who don't really need the bonus marks either. But it's very useful. It's useful to you to start writing sentences and things about sort of a more formal response, if you will, because it'll get you get you flowing towards your essay. First, in terms of essay topics, I just want to do a little general talk, and then I wanted to talk to you about part 3, Return, the first two chapters of that, which start on page 159 and I think end on 190. Another chapter for Opal, and a new character, not an entirely new character for us, Octavio Gomez, the supposed villain, right? The guy who's planning on robbing the powwow. Very interesting chapter on him. One of my favorites in the book, actually. Another one is coming up soon. Time for that later. So I've got some discussion notes to give you. I just thought I'd just give you a straight kind of like lecture, if you will. And I'm not going to give you these texts and notes. So you got to take your own. But you also have the video to come back to and refer to and watch. Watch over and over and over again until you want to lose your mind. Right. So in terms of general essay topics, there's several ways you can think about organizing your essays. You can think about hanging everything under the umbrella of, say, loss and reclamation of identity, and then character 1 body paragraph, another character body paragraph 2, and a third for your third. That's one way to do it. You could also talk about one character that you're really, really into. I love Opal. She's one of my faves. And I could write a whole essay on Opal. So you could write about one single character and then 3 of the course themes. There's also an overarching theme to think about, which our 4 course themes actually break this out more specifically. But the umbrella theme is generational trauma. And that is particularly relevant to the 2 chapters I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So that's a big umbrella term, generational trauma, how the negative past and the stories and the history, remember how part 3 starts with that quote, how it, I completely lost my track of thought there. I'm not going to stop though. I'm just going to keep rolling. So, so that's one. I hope that gives you a couple of ideas of how you can do your essay. Focus on a single character, focus on a single theme, focus on several themes, focus on the novel as a whole, and talk about several themes. That way you could talk about several characters in each body paragraph. Wherever you feel the most comfortable in coming up with examples that really interest you, and that you understand well. Yeah, so hopefully that's enough for that. But of course, one-to-one, Caitlin and I had a really good, long but good, some one-to-one video chat about her essay outline, and I'm happy to give you marks for scheduling an online video chat with me just to talk about your outline. So you should have one. This is a few weeks down the road, guys. This isn't imminent. When you have, because we have to finish the book first. When you have a good idea, when you're ready to start really focusing on your outline in detail, we can do the one-to-one chat. Just go on Teams video chat, and you can share with me your screen, your documents. We can talk about it together, and I can add things for you, and yada yada woof woof, just like we used to do in class, but this time we'll do it online. And like I said, I'm happy to give you a mark for it. it's more formal, I guess, than our one-to-ones. I don't know, in the classroom. No, not really. But anyway, I'm happy to give you a mark for it. And that way I assure myself that you're going to get good coaching for your essay. Okay, so part 3, the return. If film scripts, as you know, as I think many of you are aware, are often written in 3 acts. We've got, a detailed long exposition, then we've got the rising action to the climax, and then we've got the denouement and falling action and conclusion. So film scripts are usually done in 3 acts. This book is also done in 3 acts. So return, we're coming to the point where all the characters coalesce. Actually, coalesce is not the right word. Congregate. They all congregate at the powwow. And quick little thing about the interlude. I think I might have put in my notes to you the interlude section where he pulls himself right out, or pulls us right out of the story, and goes into an interludinal, I'm not even sure if that's a word, interludinal chapter and a didactic chapter, which means it's meant to teach for the purpose of teaching, purpose of instruction. And I myself love the information he gives, but I hate the placement of it, frankly. I don't like being pulled out of the story, right? I'm really invested with these characters. I want to keep with them, right? I don't want to leave them. And the only one thing, it just irritated me. If I was his editor, I would have said, no, don't do that. But I wonder if there's a reading to make from it, which is that all of these characters have fractured lives. All of these characters have fractured identities, cultures, instability, cracks in the infrastructure, And so I wonder if that chapter is meant to it's an interlude, but it's also an interruption. It's also a fracture, a breaking of the storyline for us. So I wonder if you could think of it that way. I'm not sure if the payoff's worth it, but it is good information, of course. And I put some notes into my last email. I included some notes in the last handout, discussion questions handout you received. Okay, this is going to go a little bit longer than I planned. I'm actually at 7.5 minutes already. I'm going to try and, I don't know, it'll be under 15 for sure, for shizzle. And, your teachers aren't supposed to talk for more than 10 minutes anyway. So here we go. But Opal the interesting thing is the quote that the author's chosen to put as an entry point into this part of the novel. He has a quote there: "People are trapped in history, and history is trapped in them." And I forgot to write down who actually said it. He's quoting somebody else, and I can't remember who said it. But it's on page 157, the title page for part 3, The Return, which ends up with, starts with Opal again. We're back with Opal. And what is the very first thing she does? She looks in her rear view mirror, right? She's another mirror. And a lot of it is told, she's remembering. She's letting her mind wander a little bit and going through her, she's having a reflective moment as she's sitting in her postal van. And so we get a lot of internal dialogue from her, and she fills us in a lot on her personality, her trajectory, her journey with flashbacks. And there's some really interesting things. She's also connected to the other characters. So mirrors has come up in every single chapter, I'm almost positive. At least when we get the introduction to the character, there's always a mirror involved, or a reflection of some kind. You could hang your essay on around that, right? You really could. Her connection to storytelling is that she often listens to audiobooks. So she's driving around doing her postal route. She also had 3 spider legs in her leg when she was around Orville's age. So that's a connection with them. They each had 3 spider legs. It's a wacky thing. There's so much myth and symbology attached to spiders. It's interesting. I haven't completely figured it out. Ronald's house. She kept a baseball bat. I found this kind of interesting. Ronald attempted to rape Jackie, and but Opal saved the day because she was, instead of, she'd given up on two shoes. Like, she remember she left two shoes at the coastline in Alcatraz, and replaced with the baseball bat, and she was able to fight Ronald off. Yeah, so that tells us a lot about Opal right there, especially as a kid. She does what she needs to do. She steps up the plate. That one baseball bat steps up the plate, right? She's got a lot of strength. There's more to say about that in a second. She refers to Ronald as Veho, which is a Cheyenne word for trickster, spider, trickster. I think it's a word that they use for three ways: spider, trickster, and the white man. Interesting. You could connect that with colonization if you wanted to. Sorry, colonization if you wanted to, because the reference to the white man, the white man's culture is both a home, if you will, and a trap, right? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, so that giving up, trading in. It's just interesting that trade in from a teddy bear, a childish teddy bear, to essentially a weapon is what it turns out to be, a baseball bat. Sort of represents a loss of innocence for Opal. As they flee the house, they notice that the TV is still on and that Indian Head Target is playing. So remember that Indian Head TV, Indian Head Target thing that was shown on television screens up until, oh gosh, the early 70s, I think. Excuse me. And sip of tea. And just bringing home the symbolism that First Nations are targets for abuse and violence, particularly as is in all demographics. Women and girls are most at risk. What else? Oh, like Orville, she feels like an imposter. She feels like she's a bit removed from her own life experiences. She's always distracting herself with something. Opal's the busiest person on the planet, right? She's raising 3 boys, and she's working full time, and she's constantly and grateful for doing, right? She's always busy doing something. Oh, interesting tech connection with her too. Remember how there's a thread of technology that runs through this entire book as well. I'm not sure if it's essay worthy, but it's definitely interesting and definitely absolutely deliberate on the author's part to have this motif of, I guess in some ways the very positive aspects of technology in garnering identity and staying connected with family, because Opal also uses it. She routinely checks the boys' cell phones, which is an invasion of privacy, but she doesn't see it that way. So she's using technology to find out about who they are, their identities. She's very superstitious. She doesn't step in any cracks when she's walking down the sidewalk, yeah, I just love her character. She's so great. She's so rich, right? She's so detailed, and there are so many layers, as they all do, but Opal for me in particular. She sees a drone. She also notices a drone as she's sitting there. So maybe it's not Calvin's drone, but it's a drone. So another little bit of technology in there too. As a girl, she's connected also to Lucas, who is Dean's uncle who passed away. Oh, shoot, I'm already at 13 and a half minutes. God. Oh, shoot. Anyway, she when she was a young girl, she was in love with Lucas, who is Dean's uncle who passed away from, I think it was a liver illness in the first couple of chapters. And it's his regalia that Orville actually dresses up in. And so it's interesting. Of course, not of course, but their love did not last. They drifted apart. But when he was dying, he came to visit Opal and gave her the regalia. So you think in one way she would like to see Orville dressing up in it, because it's, paying homage to somebody she loved. But also the pain is too much, right? It's probably painful for her to see her in that. And so we see Orville in that. And so we also learned that Lucas was a dancer too when he was younger, a dancer and participated in powwows. So although Lucas is dead now, he's still kind of with us. I'm going to end this one here and do another one for the following up chapter. I've got a little bit more to say about Opal, and then we'll talk about Octavio. She's an interesting guy. Okay, I'll be right with you. See you, honeys.